First of all, I want to say thank you, Orly, for inviting me to be part of Life Fest Inside's event. And to all of you that are watching, I wanted to wish you a happy World Kindness Day. I'm so glad to be here. So I want to share something really intimate with you. My best friend, when I was 23, saved my life with his kindness. You know, I was just out of college. I was in my first job. I just broke up with my first boyfriend. I was living in a new city, and every day I was terrified that I was going to get fired from my job, and I really was struggling. I felt like I was worthless. And I called my mom and dad, and I said, oh my God, I don't know if I want to live anymore. And it was really vulnerable. But I'd always been such a tough cookie, kind of figuring stuff out. I don't think they really took it seriously. And I called my best friend Travis, and he said, I'm getting in my car right now. And he drove 3 hours. And by the time he got to my apartment, I was not willing to open the door. I felt kind of embarrassed, and he called me on the phone, and I didn't pick up. And that's back in the day of answering machines. I was 23. And I could hear the message that he was leaving. And he said, Traci, I'm here. I'm sleeping outside your window, and I'm gonna wait until I get to talk to you. And there was something so profound, not only in that moment, but all the ways that Travis and our friendship was just built on a kind of trust where he was like a big brother to me. I would go over to his house, and we would stay in our jammies all day, and I would lounge around in his room and just share with him all the things that I was thinking and wrestling with and struggling with. And his kindness was really the kindness of listening. I want to inspire you all to become big-hearted listeners the way Travis was to me, so that you can go out in the world and maybe save a life, for sure change your community, and really change your own heart. Who the heck am I, though? Why am I coming and talking to you about this? My name is Traci Ruble, and I've been practicing psychotherapy for 16 years. And in 2015, I did something kind of weird, probably because of all these experiences I had when I was a young kid. You know, my mom was a teenager when she had me. She didn't really want to have a kid, and she was married 6 times. So I felt lonely and depressed a lot. So I think that influenced why I became a therapist and why I specifically work with couples so much after living through so many divorces. But in 2015, I sat on a sidewalk with 28 other people and just listened to strangers. And you know what's happened? It's grown into its own nonprofit called Sidewalk Talk. And there's now 8,500 of these listeners with Sidewalk Talk that listen on sidewalks around the world. Kind of like you kindness folks practicing kindness all over the world with Life Fest Inside. Listening is one of the most key ingredients for kindness. It's way more than a skill, though, and people get this wrong. Listening is, what I've discovered, is actually a way of being. I want to talk a little bit about that with y'all. First, we often think of kindness as a bunch of things that we do, but it's actually a lot more about what we're not doing with listening. Second, gosh darn, we make a lot of assumptions that get in the way of listening. So fewer assumptions might actually help us be a heck of a lot kinder. And third, did you know that there's some really interesting research that shows that the more that we engage in heart-centered listening, the more inclined we are to be kind and compassionate out in the world? I find this very, very fascinating. You know, when I was preparing to come talk to y'all today, I was watching this really beautiful video with Carl Rogers. So a lot of you know who Carl Rogers is, and some of you don't. He's kind of the founding father of compassionate listening. And he was a therapist, but he didn't do this whole therapizing thing or giving people advice or telling them what to do. There was something so beautiful about how he was so tender and would just kind of make room for whatever somebody was feeling or what they had to say. Then you could even see the expression in this video of this guy just feeling more and more normal and okay the longer Carl listened to him. Yet he didn't have any pearls of wisdom, didn't have any magic advice, didn't sort of say, cheer up, you should be in a better mood, or you should think differently, or you should see the world differently. It was just amazing. And this is really profound. So if kindness and listening go together like peanut butter and jelly, right? And this kind of kindness is a lot less of a doing kind of kindness. Then how do we actually demonstrate it? You want to try something with me? Just try something with me right now. Imagine like your best friend or your mom or dad, maybe a coworker or your neighbor, for example. And just for a second, imagine that they were sitting across from you, and all you did is you just looked them in the eyes and you just kind of beamed love, right out of your face at them. So you weren't really doing anything demonstratable on the outside, but it was something that you were generating on the inside towards them. And that the stance that you were taking while you were looking at them is who you are is totally okay. Notice what that's like just for you inside. Does it feel good? Does it maybe feel a little weird? Now, imagine that you're sitting there and you start making all kinds of assumptions about them. Could be positive assumptions, maybe negative assumptions, maybe you're making some assumptions about me right now. Who is this blonde lady with a yellow shirt and the bright red lips? And you might make up some story about me. My question to you is that kind? Does that generate kindness in you? I want to say something about assumptions. They're normal. We're all making them all the time. So one of the key reasons we make assumptions is our brain is taking in a lot of information all the time. And so assumptions are kind of a shortcut the brain makes so that we can categorize things really quickly. But if you go back to what I'd said about listening, if it's like the ultimate act of kindness, then catching ourselves in the act of making assumptions when we're sitting across from our friend or a coworker or neighbor is a really good thing to do, because assumptions might have us, let's say, give a blanket to someone that's hungry. It's like, well, thanks for the blanket, but I didn't really need a blanket. When we let go of assumptions, when we catch ourselves making assumptions and then let them go, what happens is our listening becomes kinder. We become kinder in our listening because that person feels really seen and heard and validated. So play around with that and notice yourself making them. I make them all the time. You can ask my sons. They'll say to me, "Oh my gosh, Mom, you made up some story about what happened with this kid at school and you didn't even ask me." Or you gave me advice and I didn't really want any advice. You didn't ask me if I wanted advice. I'm like, oh, right, that was an assumption. So the third point I want to make is this idea that's kind of based on some really cool, groovy research out of Max Planck Institute here in Germany, where I live, which is if we really get good at listening, where we really walk in somebody's shoes, non-judgmentally, without any assumptions being made, but really honoring their experience with a lot of love and kindness, that guess what it does? It actually has us want to be kinder. So isn't this cool, you guys? So listening compassionately, listening with kindness, listening with heart, and doing it as a practice over and over and over again actually makes us want to be kinder. It spreads it around. It makes it a ripple effect. So I've got a big challenge for you, because I know that Orly wants us all here hearing these talks today, because her whole mission is to get people to be kind in lots and lots of places. And if there's anything that I've learned, that when I listen to people better, when I let go of all my assumptions, when I beam love out my eyeballs at them and through my smile, I actually feel like a kinder person. Now, that's not only good for others, it's good for me. I feel better, right? And I know this. I've been listening on Sidewalks with Sidewalk Talk for 5 years, and it has completely changed how I feel inside. And boy, do we need more of that right now. So I hope that long after World Kindness Day is over, that you will remember my little chat with you here, and you will be sitting across from somebody that might be having a really rough time or might be really excited about something good that's happened to them. And rather than assuming anything, that you just beam love out your face. You let go of all kinds of assumptions that you could make, and you just ask them questions and you just listen. So thanks for being here, and may you go forth and have the best dance party today, and happy World Kindness Day.